What's up, everyone? Welcome back to The Vibe. I'm Ethan, and you are currently listening to the Visualize podcast. If this is your first time tuning into the pod, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. Visualize is all about seeing and understanding life through different lenses than our own, and ultimately visualizing life in a better perspective. Really, this is just a place where we can share experiences, praise God, talk about some deep life stuff, and just vibe all together. Happy October, everyone, wherever you are listening. I hope everyone is having a very relaxing week so far. Before we get into today's episode, I kind of just want to make a really quick message or announcement, if you will. I kind of just want to apologize to you guys for not being as consistent with this podcast as I wanted to. I know in the beginning when I created this podcast, I really just wanted to move forward from my old podcast and kind of establish new standards for myself, being more consistent and whatnot. And I feel like these past few weeks I haven't been doing so. But I will say, just life lately it's been doing a lot. Life has been doing a lot. I'm sure many university students and even high school students can relate. But as I'm filming this, it's late October. It's still currently midterm season. We're in the middle of the semester. And so, at least for me, I've noticed that in the past few weeks, I've had an increase in my academic workload. Like, my workload has just been larger than usual, and I've just been having back-to-back assignments and exams and projects and essays to write. It's been so much, and so I really wanted to use every opportunity that I could to just, number one, not only take care of my mental health, but also take care of my spiritual health, just hang out with the people I love, my family and God. And so, yeah, I want to apologize because I know, I think I missed 2 weeks of just not making episodes. So I'm sorry about that, but I really thank each and every one of you for, continuing to listen and support to this pod. It really means a lot. But, moving forward, I want to continue trying my best to just maintain that consistency and, hold myself to that standard. But anyways, on to today's episode. Today's topic or episode is called Enjoy and Cherish Before It's Too Late. And really, this phrase has been on my mind as of recently. And I kind of just wanted to get into it and share with you guys what it means to me. But as always, please take the time right now to follow this podcast, the Visualize podcast, wherever you are listening, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. And please be sure to also rate this podcast on any of those platforms. And if you may do so, please follow at Visualize by EJ. Again, that's at Visualize by EJ on Instagram and TikTok for more podcast updates and whatnot. So yeah, so getting into it, the inspiration behind this topic really came from something that is going on in my life currently. As of right now, I am in the process of getting my license to become a certified nursing assistant. And in the program that I'm in, it is required of me to have 16 hours of like just work or experience at a nursing home. And so to kind of just give you guys an idea, I had to dedicate recently 2 days, and I had to come into an assigned local nursing care facility. It was from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I just basically, I worked with elderly and individuals who can't take care of themselves. And I just had that hands-on experience of, feeding and caring and bathing and whatnot. Really, besides content creating and like getting into like my artistic side and film and photography and fashion and whatnot, I've always had this passion to help people. I just feel like the world is already dark enough. And so if I could just be able to help someone make their day a little better, even in just the slightest bit, that means so much to me. I just find a lot of fulfillment and satisfaction in that. And I even remember growing up, my grandmother would even tell me like, "Ay, ang apo ko, alam mo, magiging isa kang mahusay na doktor paglaki mo." And that basically means like, my grandson, when you grow up, you're going to be a great doctor. And who knows, maybe, down the line, I might choose to like go into medical school and pursue in that, field. But I've always seen myself helping people physically in some way. And many people have seen that as well within me. To be honest, however, when I graduated high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do in college. I remembered when I was just applying for colleges, and even when I was announcing like what college I chose, I said I was going to just major in biology. And then like last minute, like before the first day of school, my first day of freshman year, I remembered I changed my major to nursing because I don't know, like I knew I wanted to be in the medical field, but I just didn't quite know what I wanted to concentrate in. And, not everyone knows, and that's okay, but I just knew like, the medical field kind of was up my alley, and it kind of like I kind of knew what I wanted to do in a sense of, I think I'll be fine in the medical, in a medical based major. But anyways, back to my experience in the nursing care facility. I will say, when you spend a lot of time and you kind of take a step back from your usual life and the busyness that it can have, when you actually like spend time with people who are much more older than you learn a lot. You really do learn a lot. Even though I was there for about like 16 hours in total, I felt like I not only learned a lot in terms of like, experience, like medical experience, but I've learned a lot about like life, and I kind of internalized a lot of things. I met a bunch of different lovely individuals, both who I cared for and those I worked with, like the partners I was assigned to, and even just fellow licensed medical professionals. And I kind of want to share some of them to you guys. On my first day, I met this older woman, and I think her name was Judy. Now, Judy, I remember, let me give you guys some like context. Okay, so walking into my first day, I was so nervous. I didn't know what to expect because I honestly thought that the nurses there and like, the licensed medical professionals, they were gonna like throw me in with the sharks and let me do my thing. Yes, I do want to help people, but I don't want to like, if I'm not like trained, like I don't want to, end up having, something bad happening. Luckily, I was put in with some nice people, but I was left with one patient, and her name was Judy. And so I was helping her kind of just start her day, and I was kind of helping her getting her dressed and even like just brushing her hair and helping her brush her teeth and whatnot. And I remember she asked me, it was like 9 or 8 a.m. She asked me like, guess my age. And I said something along the lines of, ma'am, you do not look a day older than 70 or something like that, like something. But truly, she looked very youthful. And she really kind of looked like she was either like 70 or 80. But what caught me off guard was homegirl was 101 years old. And I was like, dang, like drop the skincare routine, not gonna lie. But anyways, like we had like some small talk, and she was like telling me, what do you do? What are you trying to do? And whatnot. And I told her, I'm majoring in healthcare sciences at, this university, and I'm doing this. And I remember she straight up told me some like real life advice. She told me, no matter how hard it gets, remember not to give up. Like, whether you become a doctor or not, if you're having a hard time, just turn around and count to 100, breathe, and just keep on going. Life is too precious to give up simply when something's difficult. And of course, that was what she said, like along the lines of, I don't remember like word for word, but when she said that, I started crying. No, I'm just kidding. I started to tear up because, outside of that process of me getting, my license, I was low key that day worried about a lot of things about, like school and even like content creating and even just relationships in my life. And that just really hit, that really hit different. Throughout the day, I met a lot more individuals and got to learn about their lives, how they were back then, what was their professions, and even just, kind of sitting down, not worrying about like your phone. Really, I was kind of reminded of like how life can be so precious. Like entering into, my young adulthood years. I'm 19. Next year I'm turning 20, and that's just crazy to think about. But there's just so much that a young adult can worry about in this world, like money, people's opinions, the future, even things that we cannot physically control, and even our health. Like we worry so much about these different things, and obviously, I believe that God created us to be alert and to have this level of stress. Actually, my friend and I, India, if you didn't see her last episode, I did an episode with her. You should definitely check it out. It was a super dope episode with her. But anyways, her and I have been talking about this, about like stress and whatnot. And what was I saying? Yeah. So I believe that God gave us like a level of stress, obviously, so that like we can identify danger and like whatnot to kind of keep us safe, as my friend stated, India. But there are so many things in our lives that are so insignificant, like, and we can even come to a point where we can magnify those minute things to where we can't even see the big picture of life anymore. You feel? I don't know. I just feel like spending time to just care for those individuals made me internalize how life is so much more than those unimportant things. Like, just like worrying about social media and whatnot. But yeah, that's really what I kind of learned in that experience at the nursing care facility, and what really kind of inspired today's episode. But overall, that experience was really, really fun, just interacting with nurses. And again, like I was low-key terrified, but I praised God that I was put with such amazing people who made me feel comfortable, but also allowed me to obtain like this experience, and training. Actually, that's right. One of the nurses that I was assigned with was Filipino. And I remember it was my second day. I got transferred to a different floor, and I remember that morning I just finished, getting the vitals of everyone on my floor. And so basically before you start your shift, you're introduced to everyone on your floor, your nurses and your partners and whatnot. And when I saw this nurse, I was like, homie's gotta be Filipino, bro. Like, I could just tell by the accent as a Filipino, but also I saw the name tag. I mean, let me tell you, first name was American, last name was Spanish. Like, I knew homie was Filipino. And let me tell you, like, I was so scared. I keep on saying, let me tell you. I know I was scared because what if he's just that 1% who isn't actually Filipino, and I just like, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I asked him, I was like, sir, are you Filipino by chance? And he said yes. He was excited. And we just had a 30-minute conversation in our mother tongue. And we just talked about like how the process of getting a license is so different in the US compared to the Philippines and whatnot. We even had like our own cultural inside jokes. Even though I just met the guy, I felt like he was like this long lost like friend. Like I felt like I knew him in some past life. But anyways, it was so much fun. I learned a lot. Really mad respect for healthcare workers out there. It takes a lot of patience and compassion to work with a variety of people. mad respect for you guys. I remembered for a couple hours I just had to stand. I wasn't able to sit down because of how we were moving a lot, and oh my gosh, like my my legs started to give out. But yeah, mad respect for healthcare workers out there. But to just kind of get into the message, I wanted to remind you guys who are listening to just enjoy life before it's too late. You know, enjoy it. Enjoy life. Enjoy the experience of the life God has given us. I really don't want this episode to be sad. I want to spread like this reminder of like, you know, of hope and positivity and encouragement, especially in times where we can kind of get stuck in something and just spiral. I've experienced that a lot, even lately, where I would, you know, we could get stuck in like our jobs and in our families and even social media and even in our own headspace. We could get stuck in like a particular thought, maybe that might be a thought of insecurity or a thought that makes us feel sad, and we could just spiral, you know. And I'm not saying to completely drop all of your responsibilities and just do whatever you want. I'm saying that it's really important to just take a step back at times, often, and just enjoy it and cherish the people around you. Enjoy-ish, not me. Enjoy life. You know, celebrate the small things, reconnect with God. You know, a reoccurring message that my mom likes to remind my siblings and I is that life is short. And, you know, that saying is very cliche, I know, but it's so true. Basically, you know, if I haven't said this already on my YouTube channel and just creating content, I'm just going to say it now. My grandparents have played a huge part in my childhood and just life. In my life, I was only able to meet 3 out of the 4 grandparents I had. One of them unfortunately passed away before I was born. But my grandparents absolutely mean the world to me when they were here. And even until now more than ever, I'm sort of taking on the things that they've taught me when they were here, both like in life and just how I, you know, go about it. For instance, my grandfather's name was Papa Bagi. That's what I call him. And I remember back in 2018, I had to go back to the Philippines because my grandmother passed away and we were burying her. And we had a moment where we just sat down, and I remembered it like we were in the Philippines. It was All Saints Day, All Souls Day was kind of coming up. And it was nighttime, and my grandfather and I just went outside of our house, and we sat down and we just talked about life. And I remember him and I had this long conversation where he was kind of telling me the story of his life, the mistakes that he made, but ultimately how he went through his character development era later in his life, and how he just got it together, and how really you don't even know when your time is up here. And at the time I was like 14 years old. One of my biggest regrets, to be honest with you guys, is I don't want to say I wasn't listening, but I really wasn't taking it to heart. I was just like, oh, okay. Like, okay, whatever. Like, if I were to be in that situation now where I would, like, you know, talk to my grandfather, I would be like, yo, spill me the tea, Papa. Like, tell me everything. But back then, I felt like, I don't want to say I didn't care, but I just wasn't really listening, if that makes sense. But from what I can remember, he sort of reminded me about how you really don't know what's going to happen. But right now, in the present, you just got to enjoy it. You got to cherish it. I remember the year 2018 was a very interesting year for me. It was obviously sad. That was the year my grandmother, her name was, I called her Mamako, which is short for her name, Cora Corazon. So Mamako passed away back in 2018, and I remember that year as well, we found out that she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I think when we found out, it was already too late. We kind of found out that, she might not be here with us for in the next few months. She basically might pass away when we found out. And so I remember during that time, I made a list of kind of like the things I wanted to do with my grandmother before she passed away. I need to look for that. I don't know where that is, but essentially it was this small list I made on a Post-it note, and it was like, watch one last movie, interview her about her life. I even went as far as like go like thrift shopping with her I kind of just put all of the things that I wanted to do with her before she passed. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to complete that list, but I will say again, it's so important to not always get caught up with the things, going around in your life, if that makes sense. There are some situations in our life where we have to completely stop everything and focus on that one thing. But, it doesn't hurt to sometimes just like take a step back and to be content in life, and the fact that we're breathing, and the fact that you might be surrounded with so many special people in your life. I have another story I want to tell. So back in 2017, for those of you who don't know, I grew up Catholic, and so when I think I was in 8th grade at the time, I was going through this process of getting confirmation. Basically, to be confirmed, at least in my church, it was required of me to attend this. Not the mosquito. Anyways, sorry guys. It was required of me to attend this. What's it called? Like retreat almost. I had to sleep in the woods, and it was just like a retreat to kind of get out of that, your life, what do you call it? To get out of that normal schedule that you're used to, and just, go out to the woods and get closer to God, whatever. But anyways, I remember I went to this retreat, and it was, oh my gosh, just looking back, I remembered I had so much fun. I made some cool friends, and there was even a time where we stayed up late at night and we played hide and seek in the woods. Now, let me tell you, that can be scary, but it can also be so much fun. I remembered I had a blast. It was kind of nerve-wracking, but it was so funny. I think even at one point, the fire extinguisher went off. That's just a whole different story. But anyways, in that retreat, one of the things that really stuck to me is how, as someone who worries so much, even about the smallest things, my friends can actually attest to this, how even in middle school, back then, I was so worried about everything, even about the smallest things. But what I learned is that, as someone who worries a lot, sometimes you just gotta let go. You just gotta live, if that makes sense. It's easier said than done, but it's so comforting. I remember during that retreat, we had a time where our retreat director played this meditation exercise, and it's still out there. It's called vapor meditation. I recommend you who is listening to listen to that, even if you're non-Christian. It's so comforting, and it kind of just makes you sit down, like, and just kind of appreciate life. And so that meditation exercise, it talks about how everything is meaningless, essentially. There's a book in the Bible, it's called Ecclesiastes. It's honestly one of my favorite books, even though it kind of sounds like dark, like everything is meaningless. Like it can kind of like help you, in a sense, really see things differently, you know? And man, like, but yeah, I definitely recommend listening to that meditation exercise. It's called Vapor Meditation. I think that's what it's called. It's on Spotify. But really, this is just all to say, as I bring all of this up, to take a pause. You know, it's especially now as I'm a university college student, where things can kind of get more intense in terms of like workload and just academics. It's super important to like sometimes to take a step back, even if you have to do it like once every day. Just take a step back, breathe, and realize, like, you know, you're living, and that's something we should like celebrate and be happy about. You know, that we're here and that we're all special and that we're all beautiful, you know. Really, to wrap things up, again, enjoy it while it lasts. Cherish the people that are around you. Give them a hug. Recently, there was someone who in my family passed away. And just thinking about it's super weird that I had a conversation with this individual like back in July, and then we come to find out months later that they passed away. It's super crazy. But just remember, you know, hug your family, hug your friends, tell them that you love them. Celebrate small victories, celebrate small things. I tend to get happy. Like lately, I've just been finding myself getting like really happy and excited about like it's sunny outside, or even when it's like cold, I get excited about like wearing some dope thrifted sweaters. But yeah, I wanted this episode to be just a reminder to everyone that life is short, and as humans we don't know when our time is up. But what we can do right now, what we should do right now is, you know, let go of, you know, the worries and even the anger, and you know, just enjoy it and cherish life, really. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed today's episode. Please be sure again to follow this podcast wherever you're listening. Also check out my YouTube channel if you haven't already, at the Ethan Gonzales. So you are loved and you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are special as well. Please remember that. And yeah, I love you guys. Have a great day. Peace out.